Hello and welcome to this special episode as the 45th session of the Supreme Council of the Cooperation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf, which kicks off tomorrow in Kuwait with the participation of Kuwait political leadership as well as leaders of the Gulf bloc. This year, the 45th summit hosted by Kuwait offers a chance to look into past achievements of the Gulf region and build on them. I'm Abdurrahim Al-Awadi, and we will be embarking on a journey of a rich history of this unique alliance that has started back in 1981, encompassing one of the deepest historical, cultural, political, and economic ties. This challenge imposed by surrounding circumstances, geopolitical proximity of the Gulf states, and the similarity of the regulations and economic and social conditions were additional factor that facilitate the establishment of the GCC. For effective coordination and integration, to deepening and strengthening relations, the Gulf Cooperation Council has been keen on formulating decisions and regulations in various fields, including economic and financial affairs. For the first time ever, summit held in the United Arab Emirates nearly 40 years ago, this year's conference, the Gulf nation are always embodying keenness in coming out with a resolution that boosts inter-Gulf cooperation.
Since its establishment in 1981, the GCC has been a key player in shaping the political landscape of the Gulf region. Its primary objectives include ensuring security, promoting unity, and fostering collaboration on important political matters such as foreign policy, regional conflicts, and crisis management. One of the most significant roles of the GCC is its collective approach to foreign diplomacy. The Council has provided a platform for member states to coordinate responses to conflicts in neighboring regions, from the Middle East to North Africa, while also engaging in multilateral efforts on global platforms such as the United Nations. As a bloc, the GCC works together to present a unified voice in the face of external challenges, whether it's the ongoing instability in Yemen or concerns over Iran's influence in the region. The GCC has been instrumental in organizing joint efforts and strengthening ties with international allies, including the United States and European powers. Moreover, GCC states have been proactive in addressing internal political dynamics, collaborating on issues such as counterterrorism, border security, and combating extremism. These unified efforts are crucial for the overall stability of the region.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to this special episode. Allow me first to introduce to you our guest today, Dr. Khalid Al-Janfawi, who is a respectable political analyst and a dear reoccurring expert guest here in the studios. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, Dr. Khalid.
Thank you for inviting me.
Dr. Khalid, as Kuwait's delegation is headed by our respective noble leadership for the 45th Gulf Summit, how do you see the importance of the participation of His Highness the Emir or the Emir's representative as he heads Kuwait's delegation?
Well, I think it's really very important. It shows the deep or great interest of our leadership in helping to make this summit successful. In addition to this, of course, Kuwait historically has played an important role in the establishment of the GCC itself since 1981. In addition to this, many of the previous summits were held in Kuwait. So historically and even politically, I think our wise leadership in Kuwait understands that this particular summit is really very unique, because we understand that the Middle Eastern context currently is very sensitive. In addition to this, of course, we are facing, as Arabs and Muslims, many challenges in order to, if you like, unify the GCC front. I think the current summit will establish a new approach towards solving many of the challenges we face in the Middle East.
Dr. Khalid, we will get into more details on this, but like you mentioned earlier, as we also like to recall the state of Kuwait hosting 6 previous summits. How did Kuwait contribute in fostering the cooperation between, or cooperation and development during the hosting of the past?
Well, historically, the the idea of the GCC started, if you like, or originated in Kuwait diplomatically and politically. In addition to this, in the previous summits, Kuwait has always contributed positively to the unifying of the GCC economically and politically. In addition to this, of course, Kuwait has contributed to the coordination between the GCC countries, militarily, security-wise. One other contribution that Kuwait has done throughout the previous decades is that it actually strengthened the voice of the GCC because of the great diplomatic heritage we have in Kuwait since the 1960s. Kuwait has been known for its positive and constructive contribution to solving the issues in the Middle Eastern region. With the establishment of the GCC itself actually benefited from Kuwait's experience in dealing with Arab and Islamic issues.
Strengthened and unified its voice as a bloc.
Indeed, indeed.
Dr. Khalid, what were the key outcomes of the most recent summit held in Doha of last year, and how did it impact it on the regional collaboration in the Gulf?
Well, the previous summit emphasized the need for the GCC countries to cooperate on different fronts. One of the main issues that was discussed in the previous summit was the cyber security, for example. So we expect that in this current summit, this issue will be dealt with in more focused manner. In other words, we will see this maybe the signing of agreements about cybersecurity cooperation. In addition to this, previously the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was on the top of the agenda of the summit. Unfortunately, today we still witness this Israeli blatant aggression against our Palestinian brothers and sisters, and also we witness the blatant aggression against the brotherly Lebanon. Yes. So I think the issues in the Middle East, the Palestinian issue and the Lebanese issues and the destructive military campaign of Israel will take a top, if you like, priority
yes.
among the leaders in the summit.
Basically, we set the stage for our discussion today in this special episode. But before we continue, I would also like to share that we had an honor of conversating with His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Saleh Al Kharasi of the Sultanate of Oman to the state of Kuwait to briefly speak about the Gulf Bloc acts and processes, some of the agreements with each other and the allied and friendly nations. Here's what he had to say.
To enhance economic cooperation with various regional and international economic organizations and with countries which it has major economic interests. Many agreements have been reached with a number of them. As you know, the Gulf Summit was held with the European Union countries in this regard last October. Free trade agreements have also been signed between the Cooperation Council and a number of countries and economic systems or organizations. All this work is being carried out under the guidance of the leaders of the Council countries and is discussed during the preparations for summits and ministerial meetings.
Kuwait's hosting of the 45th GCC Summit this year represents a significant step towards enhancing collaboration and coordination among Gulf nations. Through this summit, the Gulf aims to establish a unified voice to address shared challenges and advance regional interests, especially in the regional currently witnessing with the tough challenges and circumstances. Now, Dr. Khalid, what key messages does the 45th GCC Summit aims to deliver regarding Gulf unity and the GCC role in addressing regional challenges?
I think one of the main issues that the summit will discuss is for example, the completion of the custom union, because the deadline for that is in 2024. One other issue that will be discussed is also cybersecurity, as we mentioned earlier. meaning to coordinate the GCC countries' efforts toward securing our, if you like, Gulf cyberspace. In addition to this, also we will see more agreements and more decisions on building a common Gulf market, meaning the economic, if you like, unity among the GCC states. In addition to this, of course, one of the items that will be discussed is the railway project among the GCC countries. One other issue, of course, is the idea of economic growth and how to provide employment for the GCC youth in the coming future. And of course, the most important economic issue also is, or one of the most important issues, is the diversity of the GCC economies. In other words, the diversified Gulf, if you like, economy will be, if you like, one of the, I think, important issues that will be discussed, especially that we need to gear our efforts toward renewable energy. Fossil fuel, if you like, in the next few decades will be obsolete. And thus we have to actually put more efforts into investing in solar energy, other kinds of renewable energies, and all these, if you like, economic projects will benefit the GCC countries and the people of the Gulf. So I think these are some of the major issues that will be discussed. And of course, I don't think that our wise leaders will forget to express their deep concern toward the Israeli aggression against Lebanon and Palestine.
You mentioned security as one of the agendas. How can the GCC state transform its summit outcome into actionable strategies to enhance security and stability in the region?
I think one of the important, if you like, or really very dangerous challenges that we are faced today is represented in cybersecurity, because of the impact of such cyber attacks, for example, or cyber terrorism in particular, because the global economy is being transformed into, if you like, into a different kind of electronic scene, rather than using the traditional and conventional economic apparatuses. We see more now more interest.
Everything is digitalized.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And thus I think our wise leadership in the GCC understands the importance of dealing with such issue like cybersecurity. One other issue, of course, is to increase and strengthen the military cooperation among the GCC countries, because of the sensitivity of the issues in the Middle East. Security threats have risen recently, and thus I think the strategic cooperation among the militaries of the GCC is very important, for this particular summit. And finally, of course, the most let's say important issue also is to find ways to diversify our economies, because the economic challenge is as equal in its importance as the security challenge that we are facing today.
Well, Dr. Khalid, if you allow me, I would like to pause here and show a report, since you mentioned we have let me just pause here. We have our correspondent Abdurrahman Lemhanna in the Cultural Center to give us more of to give us an update on what's happening. Abdurrahman, if you can hear me, what do you have for us?
باكر لا ما في مجال.
Okay. We seem to have do we have Abdurrahman Lemhanna? Anyways, we'll come back to Abdurrahman Lamhanna. But before we continue, you mentioned as part of the agenda is also the economic cooperation. We have a report I would like to show our viewers, and then we'll delve in that. The primary goal of the dialogue is to strengthen economic, cultural, and political relations amidst the current interchanging geopolitical solution and situation, as well as circumstances. Though these efforts, the renewed Gulf countries can offer a model of regional cooperation that promotes stability and development. Here's more.
The GCC member states, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman, have long been key players in the global energy market. However, in recent years, the Council has made significant strides in moving beyond oil and gas, focusing on economic diversification, regional integration, and trade cooperation. Through initiatives such as the GCC Common Market, the Council has made efforts to create a seamless economic environment. This allows for the free movement of goods, services, capital, and labor among the member states, leading to greater economic integration and shared prosperity. In addition to trade cooperation, the GCC has been working on joint investment projects in sectors such as technology, infrastructure, and finance. The GCC economic integration is also reflected in the growing momentum towards a customs union and monetary cooperation, with discussions about a potential shared currency gaining traction. The region's economic cooperation has also led to the development of large-scale joint ventures, such as the Gulf Investment Corporation, which supports cross-border investment in strategic sectors, and the GCC Power Grid, an ambitious project to connect the electricity grids of member countries. By embracing economic diversification and interdependence, the GCC aims to reduce its reliance on oil and gas revenues and develop a more sustainable and resilient economic future.
Once again, let's try our correspondent Abdurrahman Lamhanna to give us an update on the preparations. Abdurrahman?
Coming to you live from the media center, from our studio, and of course good evening to my colleagues at the studio in the Ministry of Information, my colleague Abdurrahim and his exclusive guest and my dear viewers of KTV2. We're coming live, me and an exclusive guest we have right here, our KTV correspondent Jamal Shaheen, who's an expert in the field of politics and economy and also markets, coming into Kuwait to share his insights on the GCC. Before we move on to our guest, would like to give you a little bit of an update of the 45th GCC Summit, which is about to take place tomorrow. There's only less than 24 hours before the summit to take place of the Supreme Council Summit. There is a lot of steps and processes that have been taking, and there's a lot of preparations as well that have been done by the Ministry of Information right here in the Ministry and at the Media Center, and also done by the National Guard and Ministry of Interior. And also the government of Kuwait has declared that tomorrow on Sunday would be a public holiday to smooth out the conduct of the GCC Summit. So that is all to make everything go as smooth as possible for the GCC Summit. So when we touch upon the GCC Summit and the agenda, so it comes at a critical time and it is of importance, and there is a lot of files high on the agenda. We move from the political side, there is the Palestinian crisis of the Gaza and Palestinian cause as a whole, and to other regions like Lebanon and Yemen and other countries as well. There's high on the agenda, and also from the political to the economic, we move to the economic integration. We have many projects on the line to be taken steps towards, such as the railway which connects all the Gulf, and of course other projects such as the common markets. And of course culturally, the Kuwait has taken steps towards uniting the Gulf culturally and share the vision of the GCC, such as the GCC Pavilion that has begun and inaugurated in November and will continue until 13th of December. for all the public of Kuwait and the GCC member state. As of now, let us move on to our guest Jamal Shaheen, who's right here present in the in the studio of the media center with us, and let's take his insight on the political side. First of all, Jamal, we'd like to welcome you, and can you please share with us your insight of the GCC summit as a whole, and then move on a little bit on the Gaza cause. And as a united stance, we have most of the or all of the GCC countries have a united stance towards the Palestinian cause. So what steps can we expect of the GCC summit to be taken towards such a humanitarian crisis?
Thanks for having me. This summit is very important. It came in very hard times, in very political tension around the globe. But we have something, this is the most difficult time or the longest time we have instability in Middle East, especially in Gaza. This is the first time since 1948 we have a war, and also October 1973 we have a war between any Arab country and the Israeli for that long. We are nearly 15 months, which is affected not only the economy, but also affected the political and the culture of all population in GCC country. If we talk about what is the country of GCC, all countries have one vision, one stand, one voice. There is no peace until we have a Palestinian state, which and recognize and we have the resolution of the United Nations to have established the Palestinian state in the boundary of 1976, which is the fundamental of any two-state solution.
Yeah.
Also, the GCC is committed to have the vision of the Saudi King Abdullah, which said there is no normalization unless we have the Palestinian state.
Yeah. So now, Mr. Jamal, as you're saying, so what you're saying is that when we speak of the action of the Gulf, when we talk about the term action, are we referring to United Nations resolutions, international financial backings? Is that what we're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and is there any initiatives towards that recently?
The problem is we have the initiative. Let's be very clear. The diplomatic effort which done by Arab countries and also European countries is a huge, but the situation from the Israeli state, who is make obstacle and also make it too hard to achieve peace. And also we can see and follow what the news when the office of the war, the criminal of the war, Benjamin Netanyahu, have some things for the media. It's incorrect information to make the peace process stop, just to or to say Yahya Sinwar is refusing to have a ceasefire, but in the same time, this is not the truth. Now we have there is investigation. I don't believe the Arab country is not doing more diplomatic effort. They do a huge diplomatic effort, which also go in the same way with the human issue, with the human effort to help people in Gaza. We cannot forget, for many times, the human aid, it's in the cross-border in Rafah, and the Israelis don't accept it to let it in. So the problem is not the problem is from the other side, who want to destroy and they keep killing.
Exactly. And as a united entity, I mean, from what I understand from you, from this summit exactly, which will happen tomorrow, as a united entity, they would have more effect on the global world, on the Palestinian cause as a united entity, right?
I will be very clear. The GCC country have a big influence, like any other. It's look like the EU influence, but the problem is the other side. If I can refer to some speech or statement from many ministers. If we back to Lord Tariq Ahmed, he's the minister for Middle East and North Africa in the Labour government before Yulio. He said, I have it in video, he said, what Kuwaiti doctor and what Kuwaiti state doing for our brother in Gaza, it's a huge. He used the word, Allah will reward them here and in the hereafter, because the Kuwaiti did a lot. This is the same of all GCC country, but The only thing I can understand from people who are in the demonstration and in London, they always say what Kuwait doing is amazing. They feel like the Palestinian issue is like internal issue if people of Kuwait, which the voice of Kuwait is the same voice of His Highness the Emir, especially in Gaza and supporting Palestine.
Even Europeans are
Yes.
reinforcing the role of Kuwait.
Yes. Okay. The Minister of North Africa and the Middle East, Hamish Falconer, when Kuwait signed an agreement with them and UNICEF to support 2.7 million people in Yemen and Gaza who are in desperate need, he said the role of Kuwait in helping other and the needy nation is a huge. The reputation of Kuwait in helping poor nation is everybody in the world in United Nations and other knows this reputation, which is also the same reputation of our brother in other GCs. You're always helping,
Exactly.
but Kuwait, what I know from them, they always said this is amazing role. As I don't like to repeat ourselves like what we said about the parliament yesterday when the minister said in his official statement, we are very proud about our rules with Kuwait to helping 2.3 million in Gaza and Yemen and the other country with UNICEF. She said that when she have urgent question from the group of Gaza in the UK Parliament.
But how is the Gulf? You've been telling me about the Gulf stance towards Palestine. How is it different to other important files on the agenda, such as in handling the case of Yemen, Lebanon, and other countries like that? Do you have any idea on that?
Okay. The same idea, the same rule and same situation of GCC country and the Kuwait is same in Yemen. Like what I'm saying now, the agreement with UNICEF is to helping poor and those who need in Yemen and Gaza. But now everybody, Gaza is on focus, emotionally, politically, and also because the big number of people who killed, it put Gaza on the top. So everybody now is focusing Gaza. Nobody can say there is no human aid go to Sudan. There is a lot. Look to
Exactly.
look to the navy and look to how many planes arrived to Sudan from Kuwait, from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, from United Arab Emirates. I can say it's one voice
Exactly.
for all of them, but because of Gaza, everybody put his eyes in Gaza. So Gaza take every attention from the people and the leader itself. There is also some initiative. I attend this in the parliament with the Lord David Cameron, who was the foreign minister before.
Yes.
He said, I can recognize and what's happening in Gaza is damage our political relation with our country,
Yes.
especially our friend from GCC. This is the first time we see our friend
Exactly, yeah.
from GCC, where we are in town with them in history. We go in the same way. They said, no, we cannot accept that. So, what I can say, David Cameron said, the foreign minister, the Kuwaiti government, the Saudi government, speak frankly, this is not acceptable.
Exactly. Well, Mr. Jamal, thank you so much for your insight, but we'd probably have to go with shorter time. Thanks for your insight, dear viewers. That was Jamal Shaheen, KTV reporter in London, right here sharing his insight. And as of now, we wish that the process of the GCC Supreme Council Summit on Sunday, tomorrow, the 45th marks this year, would go as smooth as possible and would implement most of the ideas politically speaking on the agenda, and of course economically based on the GCC economic integration ideas. And now back to you to the studio, guys.
Still with us in the studio is political analyst and expert Dr. Khalid Al-Jamfawi. Dr. Khalid, let's continue our discussion. What are the top priorities for strengthening Gulf economic integration, especially with the ongoing global shifts in energy and technology?
I think one of the main issues that will help, or one of the main achievements that will help to integrate our GCC economies is to emphasize on or to have more interest in diversity, meaning economic diversity. One other issue is to invest more in renewable energy. In addition to this, of course, we need to be conscious about the upcoming trade war between the United States and China. And this, of course, might represent a challenge not to just the GCC economies, but to the rest of the world, in Asia and Africa, meaning the raising or that the President-elect Trump promising to raise the tariffs on imported Chinese merchandise, and also on Mexico and on Canada. All those, of course, economic issues have specific ramifications, meaning they will have, if they are, if you like, initiated by the new American administration, they will have really a rather negative impact on global economy. So we have to be aware about these challenges by investing more on renewable energy, and also on investing more in developing our natural resources other than oil. In other words, cobalt, copper, gold. Many of the, say in Oman and in Saudi Arabia, they have such resources. In addition to this, of course, we need to strengthen our economic cooperation with the neighboring countries, especially the Arab countries, and perhaps Iran or any other countries in the region. In other words, to provide an alternative for any future, if you like, economic conflicts between the great economic powers of the world, the United States and China. One other thing I think that we need to focus on is to integrate our Gulf economies by achieving our common Gulf market, meaning a market that revolves around the interests and the goals of the GCC countries, and in other words, an independent regional Gulf market that can be sustained by using our natural resources. In other words, diversity doesn't mean just relying on renewable energies, but actually investing more in developing the ways and methods to develop our natural resources. One other thing I think that we need to pay attention to is in how we can finalize the integrated electricity grid among the GCC countries. I think this is really a very important issue that we need to finalize and achieve. Previously, we talked about the custom union among the Gulf countries. I think if this is achieved by the end of this year, or during this summit, this will basically strengthen our economies and will give us a competitive, if you like, edge in dealing with the imports and exports in a changing and shifting global economy.
Dr. Khalid, you mentioned China earlier. I believe the Secretary General Badawi mentioned that one of the agendas is looking for the Gulf countries to actually promote and sign memorandum of agreement with China to promote those strategic plans. Now, how does the summit foster strategic partnership with global powers like China to achieve sustainable development and regional security?
I think the investment in cooperating with China is really very important, because the Chinese are very efficient and very successful in cooperating, say, with the countries, say in Africa. Previously, they continue to have great economic cooperation with the African countries. In addition to this, I think the proximity of the geographic location of China to our countries is very important, and I think that should be looked at as strengthening the cooperation with China. One other thing that China can provide our GCC economies is its ability to be more flexible in establishing projects, say in renewable energy, because China currently is very interested in investing more in its own, if you like, renewable energy sources. In addition to this, China basically share with us in the Middle East similar cultural inclinations. In other words, we need to look at China as not a competitor with the Europeans or with the Americans in regards to, if you like, developmental projects in the Gulf region, but as a trustworthy and as an efficient, as a practical and a reliable economic partner.
Dr. Khaled, we will continue this discussion details, but I would like to go live now to our correspondent Mariam Ladwahi from Sheikh Abdullah Salem Culture Center to elaborate on the vastness of the culture cooperation between member states of the GCC. Mariam, can you tell us about the Gulf weeks ahead of the 45th GCC Summit that concluded on Friday?
Yes, Abdul Rahim. Good evening, everyone. The GCC weeks concluded this upcoming Friday, included many projects and events. We have exhibitions, we have workshops, we have also seminars and lectures. All these directed and addressed the main subjects that the mainstream is going to, that helps to develop and to help the progressing visions for the leaders. For example, we had the main topic, the cybersecurity. We have integrated military cooperation between member states, not to mention that enhancing the media production. For example, we have GCC Joint Production Program, which was established in 1976, aims to educate the young uprising generations about the importance of unity, about values and customs and traditions among member states. And of course, we all remember the wonderful educational project or TV show Iftah Simsim or Open Sesame, that aims to educate and progress in the educational institution. Regarding the GCC weeks, also from the entertainment side, we had also this tomorrow, exactly to be more particular, in Al Mikshat in the northern island on Jabal Ahmed Bridge. They will celebrate the GCC weeks that will include a variety of segments, musical shows that will also show some folk dances and costumes that some may not know. For example, in Saudi Arabia, it's a vast country with different regions, and each region has its own character and its own costumes.
Our correspondent Mariam Ladwahi from Sheikh Abdullah Salem Cultural Center, thank you for this input. Now let's take a quick break and we'll continue with our special live program. Stay tuned. We're back once again to this insightful discussion, and I would like to hear your personal opinion, Dr. Khaled, as we mentioned earlier about the conflicts in the region. On what are some of the circumstances or possible outcome of the summit with regards to the region we're currently witnessing, specifically when it pertains to the Palestinian cause?
I think the GCC leaders were emphasized in the current summit the importance of recognizing the two-state solution as the solution actually to the conflict in the region. In other words, there needs to be more, if you like, pressure put on the Israelis to accept this really very just solution to the two states solution, the recognition of an independent Palestinian state. In addition to this, I think the hindering of the humanitarian aid by the Israelis into the region, into Gaza, will represent one of the issues that the leaders will discuss, I think, in the current summit. In addition to this, the need to express the deep concern of our leaders and our countries towards the blatant and really very inhumane aggression against the civilians in Gaza by the Israelis, and also the incursion of military forces, Israeli military forces into Lebanon. Just a couple of days ago, the Israelis and Hezbollah agreed on a ceasefire, and I think this will be discussed in the summit by emphasizing the importance of allowing the Lebanese state to take control of the southern Beirut, or the capital. In other words, the role of the Lebanese army is very important, and I think the GCC countries understand that the Lebanese army having control in the full area of say the southern border.
If I'm not mistaken, it's based on the UN Resolution 1701, as well with the coordination with the UNIFIL forces, which is part of the UN support forces for the Lebanese army.
Indeed.
The Secretary General also mentioned part of the agenda for the 45th GCC summit is the conflicts in Gaza, West Bank, Lebanon, as well as in Yemen. Now, let's shift towards another subject. You mentioned area which interests me more about the cybersecurity and the clean energy. Now, what initiative can this summit introduce to advance the cooperation of vital areas such as the cyber security?
Well, I think that we need in the GCC to pay more attention to the current security threat represented in, if you like, cyber security. In other words, this is really very, very important issue that we need to deal with. In addition to this, of course, this can be achieved, meaning cybersecurity can be achieved if we strengthen our, if you like, coordination in our, if you like, networks and connectedness among the different GCC, if you like, networks, in electricity, and all those issues, meaning the completion of the integrated electricity grid is part of, if you like, of this cybersecurity issue. In other words, cybersecurity does not just, if you like, involve fighting or dealing with cyber attacks, but it also revolves around protecting the electricity grid from cyber attacks. I mean, currently, meaning all electricity grids around the world are connected, if you like, via the internet. In other words, the cyber security issue is an urgent issue that needs to be dealt with in this current summit. One other issue that relates to security is to strengthen the military cooperation and security cooperation among the GCC countries. In other words, we need to finalize this military and security coordination in order to face, if you like, any future challenges to our countries and peoples.
I apologize for jumping from one subject to another, but your opinion really is important for me to know. How can the summit promote cultural and educational collaboration to enhance a shared Gulf identity and solidarity?
Well, Kuwait has already achieved so much before the summit by holding the different, if you like, exhibitions in the Abdullah Salim Center for a week, meaning the event was entitled GCC History or GCC Journey, in which the Ministry of Information really contributed to the raising of the awareness among the Kuwaitis and also the expatriates in Kuwait about the importance of the achievements of the GCC as a really a very important regional organization. One other thing, of course, the holding the Gulf Weeks or GCC Weeks in the Abdullah Salim Center also contributed to strengthening the bonds among, if you like, the Gulf people, meaning people in the Gulf share so many cultural similarities. In addition to this, of course, we share the same, if you like, historical fate. We share the same geographical location. So we have so many similarities among our peoples and among our leaders and their wisdom and in their foresightedness that basically represents the GCC as a really a very unique historical achievement. One cannot actually compare it to the experience, say, in the European Union. Among the Europeans, you see different races, different regions, different languages, cultures, and different conflicts, if you like, economic conflicts. But when you look at our GCC experience, we are blessed with having this organization that coordinates our efforts to securing the our borders, to guaranteeing the safety of our people in a very chaotic and changing global scene. Currently, we are witnessing the transition of the global economy into, as you said earlier, Mr. Abdurrahim, into a digital economy. So the discussion of cybersecurity in the GCC agenda represents the awareness of our leaders of this issue. In addition to this, the interest in clean energy represents an awareness among our wise leaders of the need to find something different or an alternative economic source other than, say, fuel, or oil. So all those issues, all those, if you like, events and achievements basically tell us that this is really a very blessed and a very positive human experience. Yes. When you have a people in a region who share culture, who share, if you like, cultural background, who share social, if you like, experiences, who basically reside in the same geographical area in a strategic position in the Middle Eastern region. I think all those if you like, positive
like
elements.
you said, most, well, all Gulf countries are also committed to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, as well as it's reflected in the Kuwait Vision, for example, 2035. Like you mentioned, a lot of them, they fall into this category.
Indeed.
What if the primary challenges facing the GCC in achieving collective goals as a bloc, and how can the summit provide effective solutions?
I think one of the most important issues that we need to focus on in this particular summit is to create a unified Gulf position. In other words, a unified political and strategic position toward the challenges we face in the Middle Eastern region. So a unified front, politically, diplomatically, economically, and strategically is very important for us in this current context in the Middle East. One other important issue that we need to realize is that we share, well, meaning us, the GCC countries and people and leadership, share common goals. one of the most important goals is to guarantee the security of our own people within a changing political environment in the Middle East. Currently too, we face many different economic challenges. We face United Nations expectations to uphold, if you like, the economic growth in our countries.
Yes.
And all those issues, of course, I think will, and if we succeed in achieving them in this unique summit in Kuwait, I think we will do so much good to our people and also our countries.
Inshallah. Dr. Khalid, once again, let's take a quick break. I have with us over the line is Mr. Rashid Nabil Al-Hamar, online editor of chief of Al Ayyam Bahrain, to showcase the 45th summit agenda. Welcome, Dr. Rashid. Please, your insights on the importance of the participation of the Gulf political leaders in the summit during the current circumstances in the region that we're going through.
Good evening. I'm very pleased to be with you on the show today. Good evening to your viewers and to you. It is indeed very important time that our region is going through, and the participation of their majesties and highnesses, the leaders of the GCC states, comes at a critical time where the region is going through complex challenges and opportunities. This underscores the commitment of GCC nations in fostering collaboration, proactive engagement and unity, and to address the pressing issues such as regional security, global dynamics, and energy diversification and economic prosperity. The summit provides a great platform to collectively navigate these challenges while ensuring that the region's voice is unified and in an influential global arena.
In your opinion, how would the 2024 Gulf dialogue will unravel on various levels?
This is the 45th version of the Gulf Summit. It's set to unravel on three key levels: on the political landscape, economic, and the social. The political landscape, it aims to fortify regional stability, addressing geopolitical concerns by fostering the collective vision for peace and cooperation between our partners in the world. On the economic level, the dialogue will explore new strategies for diversification, investment, innovation, and focus on sustainability and technology advancement. Socially, it is important to emphasize stronger cultural ties and people-to-people connection. And an important subject on the summit's agenda is the Gulf identity, while it encourages inclusivity and progress across the member states.
Mr. Rashid Nabil Al-Hamar, online editor of chief of Al Ayyam Bahrain, we thank you for this input.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Your Majesties and Highnesses, leaders of the Gulf countries, to the state of Kuwait. Welcome, our esteemed guests, to your second homeland, whose leadership and people are sincerely pleased to host you for this major event.
As we enjoy this insightful discussion with our esteemed guest, Dr. Khalid Al-Jufawi, and before we conclude with you, we can't help but aspire to learn further regarding the financial and economical aspect, as well as the importance of this week Gulf Culture Week event. How is the summit addressing humanitarian and development priorities that resonate regionally and globally?
Well, I think the GCC countries contributed so much into humanitarian aid, especially in regards to the challenges faced by our brothers and sisters in Palestine. The GCC countries historically has been the leading voices of increasing humanitarian aid to countries and peoples, if you like, who face economic and, if you like, natural disasters. In addition to this, of course, I think the GCC countries were the most contributors, if you like. They contributed more than any other country historically toward raising humanitarian, if you like, aid to people who are in need without any discrimination in race or religion or cultural background. And I think the current issue in regards to the humanitarian needs that we need to emphasize is the need of our brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Gaza, for rebuilding, if you like, the Gaza, and also providing food and water and shelter that is needed. And of course, this is really a challenge because we can read this as a challenge because of the context of the Israelis canceling their agreement with the UNRWA, the Palestinian, if you like, United Nations organization. So I think our wise leaders will find a way to distribute more humanitarian aid to our brothers and sisters in Palestine and also in Lebanon in coordination with the United Nations. And of course the issues and challenges faced by our countries, I think, are at will become the top priorities among our wise leaders in the GCC, and I think their foresightedness and their wisdom will achieve so much for our people in the Gulf. And of course, this is a very unique experience that we have in Kuwait, the gathering of so many wise leaders and wise, if you like, delegations and very experienced, if you like, political figures who will meet in Kuwait to decide on the future of the GCC people and countries. And we wish them the best. We wish them to achieve our economic goals, our historical goals, and provide hopefully a bright future for our people in the next few decades. Inshallah.
Before we leave you, the significant initiatives that could emerge from the summit to align the aspiration of Gulf citizens for unity and prosperity.
I think the issue of national identity will be one of the main issues that will be discussed in the current summit, because many of the GCC countries need to deal with that issue, meaning the idea of national identity. And one other thing, I think this will help us increase our security coordination. We will also see an emphasis on the concern the deep concern of our leaders in regards to the continuous blatant aggression of the Israeli forces against the Palestinians in Gaza and against our brothers and sisters in southern Lebanon.
Dr. Khalid Al-Janfawi, it's always a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, that concludes our special episode. A special thank to you, Dr. Khalid Al-Janfawi, a political analyst and expert with as a valued information and insight for our guests. We also extend our gratitude to our viewers for joining us today, and we hope you've enjoyed the special exploration of the 45th Gulf Summit due tomorrow, illuminating the bright Khaliji future. Until next time, thank you for joining us.